like to call to order this regular meeting of the Lenox Township Board of Trustees, Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of meeting agenda.
There's actually one addition. I need to add letter X and amend the special meeting minutes and motion to adjust the building department wage change. Do you need me to say it again? Letter X is to amend the special meeting minutes and motion to adjust the building department's wage. Thank you. You're welcome. And with that addition, I will make a motion to accept the agenda as written with adding the letter X.
Second.
I have a motion by Clerk Burley, seconded by Trustee Rosio. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Excuse me, you get it wrong. I was one that seconded it.
Oh,
Both, I heard both of you at the
Oh,
same
you
time.
did? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Doesn't matter.
Moving on to approval of minutes.
I'll make the motion that we approve the March 3rd, 2025 minutes as written.
I second that.
I have a motion by Trustee Marino, seconded by Treasurer Sutherland to approve the minutes of March 3rd, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We don't have to approve them separately.
Oh, they don't have to be separate?
No, they don't. They can all be one big batch.
Okay, well, can I amend that motion?
Yep.
Yes, you may.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes from March 3rd, 2025, March 12th of 2025, and March 19th of 2025 as written.
I second it.
Once again, we have a motion by Trustee Marino, seconded by Treasurer Sutherland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Public announcements. Moving on, public comment. Nope, make sure you tap the button, make sure the microphone's on. There we go. Lit up.
Good evening, board members. My name is Kenneth G. Cook. I am currently the chair of Macomb Agricultural Purchase of Development Rights Committee, which Trustee Joe Brazil sits on, along with resident John Ryan. I gave the supervisors a copy of a proposed amendment to our intergovernmental agreement that the 6 townships, which consist of Armada, Bruce, Richmond, Washington, Ray, and Lenox Township are members of. What we're proposing is an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement that would allow for the county executive office, the executive, to appoint 2 voting members to the committee. Currently, the committee is of 15 members. 2 more would make it 17. So we would have contacts in all branches of the county government and the townships. So there's a sample of the proposal. We have 3 townships already who have voted in favor of it and authorized their supervisor to sign it. And if there's any questions, once you review it in that, I'd be more than happy to answer them. You got my contact information there. And I'd just like to know ahead of time when you might schedule to take the topic up. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Public comment. Go to the record.
Good evening. Fred Merrill. I live at, you want my home address or business address?
Business is fine.
Okay, 57575 Roselle Road, Lenox. And I'm here tonight, I've been hearing some rumblings about the containers that we have in our yards and, other people that have. I don't know if you guys, I missed the last meeting, I guess, that there was a meeting regarding that. We have a lot of containers, empty containers that we use on our job sites. We'll do 7, 8 different job sites that we haul these containers to, and we keep all our material in there. All our copper fittings. We're in the underground business, so I don't know if you guys are trying to approve for businesses not to have containers in their yard, but we're zoned heavy industrial, we're a construction yard. I have a tenant there also that, all of his shipments, his concrete breakers and hammers come there. So there's multiple containers that are in our yard. At any given time, we could have 15 to 20. So I don't know what's happening. We just heard that you're going to try to approve that not having any containers in our construction yard. And we would hope that's not the case. I know you guys were talking about, last time my brother was here for the meeting, and you specifically just talked about homeowners having containers next to their houses. I kind of understand that, but, we're running our business out of this area. So I would appreciate it, or I would like to see you not approve that if it's for, industrial or commercial use. Thank you. Is that on the agenda tonight to approve the containers?
This is public comment. This is not
Okay.
for us to go back and forth.
All right, thank you.
Public comment? All right, moving on to item number 7, consent agenda. All items listed under this consent agenda are considered routine by the Township Board and will be enacted by one motion. According to established township meeting rules, there will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the public or board so requests at or prior to the meeting, in which event the chair of the meeting may remove such items from the consent agenda for discussion and consideration under item number 8 below. Approval of the consent agenda shall be by a majority roll call vote of those present and voting.
With that, the order in bills is the amount of $271,871.31.
The motion will be in order.
Make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of
$271,831.
I second.
I have a motion by Trustee Roselle, seconded by Treasurer Sutherland. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll?
Rossio,
Yes. Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Marino.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item 10A, Fire Department hose replacement proposal, Mr. White. Oh, he said that. Mr. Grabo, if you can, in his place.
Yeah.
Oh, here he comes. No, he's still on the phone.
All right, good evening, Board. Stepping in for Mr. White, there is a request in front of the Board this evening for fire department hose replacement. The total cost from what I can see on this number is $2,335.36. This is something that the fire department does routinely. based upon testing and processing, these hoses do need to replace at intervals of the requirements under the National Fire Codes. That, bring it back for any questions. Our Public Safety Director is back with us.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of replacement fire hoses for a total of $2,335.36.
I'll second.
I have a motion by the chair, seconded by trustee Marino. May the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Reader,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Rossio.
Aye. All right, moving down to item B, annual Michigan Department of Transportation MDOT permit resolution. Mr. Trombley?
Good evening, Board. I've submitted a copy of a resolution that was provided to me by MDOT that they now require every year for us to redo our annual permit. The annual permit allows us to work in the MDOT right-of-ways, which would be M19 as well as I-94. This is a blanket permit that they provided. We just need to fill in blanks. The permit is no cost to us. It's an annual thing that we, like I mentioned, we need to do our maintenance as well as improvements along these roadways.
Carol, what resolution number would this be?
That would be 2025-1.
Okay. If there's no discussion, a motion will be in order.
I make a motion to approve the Michigan Department of Transportation Annual Performance Resolution 2025-1 to allow routine work and maintenance in the right-of-ways on Gratiot Avenue and I-94 as presented by DPW Superintendent Cam Trombley. I second.
I have a motion by the clerk, seconded by Treasurer Sutherland. May the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Gurley,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Reader.
Aye. All right, moving down to item C, seasonal DPW personnel request. Mr. Trombley.
Yes, this request is the same one I make every year. This is to hire what we call a seasonal person that would work anywhere from April to approximately mid-October, depending on their availability. This is considered a part-time position, even though it does go up to 30 hours a week. It would start at our minimum base rate, which is $17 an hour, no benefits. So what I'm looking for is approval to advertise as well as fill this position, hopefully here in the next few weeks.
I motion to approve the advertising and filling the seasonal labor position to assist with maintenance and upkeep of township properties as detailed by DPW Superintendent Cam Trombley.
Second.
I have a motion by the treasurer, seconded by Clerk Gurley. May the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Sutherland,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Marino.
Aye.
All right, moving down to item D, township vehicle usage request. Mr. Trombley.
Okay. So this is a request that I would like to make to the board. As of last January, we updated our motor vehicle policy within the township here, and part of that negated any previous arrangements that were made for after-hours use. So at this time, I'm respectfully requesting to continue the use of the DPW pickup after hours as I've done for the last 15 years to commute to and from work, as well as after-hours calls that relate to my positions as I am on call nights and weekends for the DPW and fire department. When I'm on vacation, the vehicle will be stored and left at the DPW for the other guys to use during their normal workday items and after-hour call-ins. The other item that I'm asking for an exemption, I guess, is there was also a trip documentation in there. The vehicle is mainly used just for our department, by myself. Occasionally, one of my employees may use it to go run and pick something up because it's a better vehicle than using a dump truck, but that's very limited. So with me being the only main user of this vehicle, I'm asking for an exemption on all the documentation, because I do make a lot of different trips and run a lot of different errands throughout the day. We do have the GPS trackers on these vehicles, so it is very easy for you guys to know where I'm at any given time. If anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
If there's no discussion, the motion will be in order.
I'll make a motion to accept Mr. Trombley's after-hour use of the DPW pickup.
Is there a second to that motion? Hearing none, the motion is declared dead by the chair. I will make a motion to table this until the May meeting.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by the chair, supported by trustee Rosio. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Reader,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Gurley. Aye. Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item E, Casson Planning Group Contract Renewal Proposal. Mr. Grabo?
Good evening, Board. This evening, we are requesting that we continue the Casson Planning Group Economic Development Consulting Services for our planning consultant services. We're requesting that this continuation be extended through the end of December 31st, 2025. With that, you will see all the information in your packet, along with all the rate structures and the schedules. This is no change. This is just a continuation through the end of the year for this consulting group for our planning consultant. Then I'll bring it back to the board for any questions or comments.
If there's no discussion, I'll make a motion to approve the Casson Planning Group LLC contract renewal for planning consulting services as recommended.
I'll second.
I have a motion by the chair, seconded by trustee Marino. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Reader,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Gurley.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item F, Living Word Fellowship Church waiver request. Mr. Casson.
I will let the petitioner speak, please. Good evening, my name is Bill Thompson. Mayor in Clinton Township.
Oh, you just turned it off. There you go.
Okay. My name is Bill Thompson from Seabrook East Laner in Clinton Township, representing Living Word Fellowship Church this evening. The Living Word Fellowship Church is located on Baker Road, just a little bit west of Bates Road. It's been there for about 20 years. It was built, fully paved parking lot. The building's been in use constantly since that time. They found that they really need a little more storage room, so they have proposed and got a site plan approval for a storage barn, mobile barn located just west of the paved parking lot. The property is zoned agricultural, always has been. But apparently, this is being looked at as an industrial use because they're requesting a paved parking lot, 8 inches of concrete and 6 inches of gravel base. which is typically an industrial paving cross-section. That's extremely heavy and of very little use to the church. The parking lot's a lot bigger than actually the building, because if you come in and the fire department is required a driveway around the parking lot. So there's quite a bit of ground there. We met several months ago when we were in the design stages, and the fire marshal indicated that if we could get a soils report specifying a cross-section that would adequately hold a 50-ton vehicle, that he would be willing to accept that cross-section rather than the concrete paving. So our request is to waive the engineering standard and allow that to happen.
Mr. Hanson, do you have anything to add?
From a planning standpoint, we have no objections, but I can refer also to the engineer.
Mr. Safe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did send a communication after we reviewed the request, and the analysis has been done by the geotechnical engineer for the gravel parking lot. It is acceptable, subject to field testing and final design when the plans are ready.
Okay. If there's no discussion from the board, I'll make a motion to approve the waiver for Living Word Fellowship Church to allow substitute paving material in the area of a proposed accessory building.
Second.
I have a motion by the chair, seconded by the clerk. Would every clerk please call the roll?
Reader,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Sutherland, Rossio,
Aye.
Marino.
Aye.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, moving down to item G, section 719.69, accessory buildings and structures ordinance amendment. Mr. Cassie.
Good evening. This request came originally out of the supervisor's office in the building department, that at the current time we did not regulate storage containers, and the number of storage container requests that were received from the community, the businesses in the department, and there were nothing regulating them. I put together a proposed ordinance that was patterned after several other communities. It went to the planning commission in January. They reviewed it, they made some suggestions. It went back in February, they reviewed it, made additional suggestions, and then this past March meeting, a few weeks back, they recommended the version that you have in front of you tonight, regulating storage containers. Basically, they're regulating 3 different ways. For businesses and industrial, property zone business and industrial, they're allowed up to 5 storage containers, and there's a number of requirements that are part of it. The residential, they're allowed a certain number of containers based on the size of your property. 5 acres or more would be allowed 1 or 5 storage containers, and less than 1 acre would be allowed 1 storage container. And again, the same types of conditions on height, distance between, you can't live in them, can't have electrical to them, you can't have animals in them, those kind of things. And then there's an option for any resident or anything that somebody might need a temporary storage container, let's say for a fire or some kind of event that's being held on property. They could apply to the building department for a temporary storage container up to 6 months.
Just for clarification, how our ordinances are written right now, they prohibit that, correct?
Yes, we do not have an ordinance now that allows them. And zoning ordinances typically are written in such a way if they're not allowed in the zoning, not specified as a permitted use in a zoning ordinance, they're not allowed.
For instance, if any commercial property wants more than 5, they can always ask for a variance, is that correct?
This is part of the zoning ordinance, so every provision here has the right to be appealed to the zoning board of appeals. Oh, and one other thing, Mr. Chairman, if I may. If any container was actually out there illegally, if we had granted a permit or if it was part of a site plan development, it's allowed to continue. This ordinance allows current conditions to grandfather in.
Thank you for the clarification. If there's no discussion, a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to section 719.69, accessory buildings and structures as recommended by the Planning Commission.
I will second that motion. I have a motion by Treasurer Sutherland, supported by the chair. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Rossio.
Aye. All right. Moving on to item H, Chapter 270, Planning Commission Ordinance Numbering Request. This is a simple one. This is just renumbering the current Planning Commission ordinance that we already have on the books, Chapter 270 in the codified ordinances. And with that, I will also make a motion to approve the renumbering to Chapter 720. I have a motion by the chair, supported by Trustee Rosile. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Reader,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
All right. Moving down to item I, Chapter 271, Dangerous Building Ordinance. Mr. Grable.
Good evening, Board. This is a request coming out of the Supervisor's Office. This item has been typically operated and controlled through the MTA for informational items. This is a dangerous building ordinance that allows the township to step in and motivate the demolition, if necessary, of a structure that is unfit and unsafe to be left standing. This is something that we've looked at. We do have a few throughout the township. These items actually set a precedent, have a process and a hearing so that there is a operational standard set for these. We do have some of these within the area. What I do look at and ask the folks to understand that when we have something like this, typically we're asking our first responders to go into some of these structures, and the way they're left currently would prohibit us from doing this at a risk of their life and limb. So this building ordinance allows us to set forth a precedent and bring those buildings down. Some of these have been abandoned. There's a process for this, but as you can see as you read through it, it's quite lengthy and very clear on the process that must be mandated. With that, if there's any questions or comments, we'll open it up to the board.
If there's no discussion, a motion would be in order.
I make a motion to approve Chapter 721 for dangerous buildings and ordinances as detailed by the Supervisor's Office.
I have a motion by Clerk Gurley, seconded by Trustee Rosile. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Gurley,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Reader.
Aye. All right, moving down to item J, Bay River Plan Unit Development Agreement, Third Amendment. Mr. Grable.
Good evening, Board. This evening, we have in front of us a request for an amendment to the development agreement on the Bay River. There are a number of items within this. This is specifically for AutoZone that we are adding this in. There's a number of contingency items in place of this and requirements. If any members of the board has any questions, I'll be more than happy to open it up. We have both the engineer and our planners here for any specific questions along with our legal counsel. But at this point in time, the recommendation is to move forward with this.
Mr. Addis, I believe you worked with Mr. Zingas and his attorney on this matter?
Yes, we did indeed work with Mr. Zingas, the attorney for this. This PUD's been in place for quite a while. I needed some amending. The only practical problem was that people on the other side kept changing corporate identities and names, but we finally located them. everybody's in agreement and if it's legally appropriate.
I'll make a motion to approve the Bay River Plan Unit Development, Third Amendment, as recommended by the Township Attorney Alanis.
A second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Sutherland, seconded by Trustee Marino. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Reader.
Aye. All right, moving down to item K, Park Access Road Construction Bids. Mr. Safe.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening again. As authorized by the Township Board, we have completed the design plans and solicited bids for the temporary access road, the gravel road that will service the properties around the Township Hall. We received 4 responsive bids. In your packet, there is a recommendation letter with tabulation of the bids. The apparent low bidder is Toto Contracting for the amount of $1,197,195.90 for the gravel access road. At this time, we are recommending the low bidder be awarded this contract amount, condition upon receiving adequate bonds and insurance acceptable to the Township Board.
If there's no discussion, a motion would be in order.
I make a motion to award the bid to Telville Contracting in the amount of $1,197,000. $1,197,195.90 for the Lenox Township Park temporary access road.
I second that.
I have a motion by Trustee Rosio, seconded by Treasurer Sutherland. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll.
Rossio,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Reader.
Aye. Moving down to item L, A and B Commercial Cleaning Contract Renewal. Mr. Grabo.
Good evening, Board. Good evening, Board. This evening, in front of you is a request for renewal for our commercial cleaning services that cover Town Hall and the Community Senior Center. This evening, in front of you, you have the attachment copies, the weekly cost for the main building, $271.17. They do offer additional services, but there are a number of things that we go out on a general bid for, such as our windows that this building has so many in. We actually have that on a separate award bid, but this evening we are looking at strictly at the cleaning services between Town Hall and also the Community Center, which is $175 per week. A&B Commercial Cleaning Services has been an excellent vendor for us for a number of years. At this point in time, we'll like to bring it back to the board, but the offices and the operations are in fact recommending A&B to continue this commercial cleaning contract.
I'll make a motion to approve and renew A&B commercial cleaning contract for cleaning the main office building 1 day a week at the cost of $271.17, and the community senior center building at the cost of $175 once a week, as detailed by the supervisor's office.
I second.
I have a motion by Clerk Rose, supported by Treasurer Sutherland. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll.
Gurley,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Rossio.
Aye. All right, going down to item M, Assessment Administration Services LLC Contract Renewal. Mr. Grabo.
Good evening, Board. This evening, in front of you is another renewal for a request for consideration. This is basically our assessor's contract that we carry throughout the township. The Griffin operation has done very well. They are well respected throughout the community and throughout the county. As you'll see here within the contract, you'll see all the numbers that are presented to you this evening. There has not been a significant change, but I will go through the operational number change that is being recommended and requested by their offices at this time. The assessor services for the first year, which is May 1st, 2025 through April 30th of 2026, would be the cost of $125,280. The second year, that cost would move to $129,600 from May 1st, 2026 through April 30th, 2027. The third year contract would move to $134,160 from May 1st through 2027 through April 30th of 2028. We've had an excellent rapport with the staffing coverage that they give us. Their staffing coverage actually averages about 2 to 2.5 staff members per day. Based on those numbers, that's an excellent number. These are contract services that the township has had for a number of years, and at this point in time, the recommendation is for consideration for a renewal on the 3-year contract as recommended. Then I'll bring it back to the board for any questions or comments.
If there's no discussion, a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve and renew the contract with Assessment Administration Services LLC for 3 years as follows. May 1st, 2025 to April 30th, 2025 for,
2026.
it says,
It's a
26,
typo.
okay. $125,280. May 1st, 2026 to April 30th, 2027, $129,600. May 1st, 2027 to April 30th, 2028, $134,160.
A second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Sutherland, supported by Clerk Curley. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Curley,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Marino.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item N, Treasurer's Office Assistant Formal Hire Request. Madam Treasurer.
Board members, the following is a proposal to make the administrative assistant to the Treasury Department a permanent position. The board had previously approved Daniela Solberg to be hired on a 90-day trial basis with an hourly wage of $17 an hour. Daniela has proven to be an asset to the township and is willing to step in wherever needed. In addition to the current position, it is required that they work at the front counter along with reception and occasionally assist with the senior center. This position became open when I was appointed as treasurer. This is not an additional position as it already exists within the township. My recommendation to the board is that we make this position permanent and keep Daniela Solberg as administrative assistant to the Treasury Department at $17 per hour. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the permanent hiring of Daniela Solberg to the Treasurer's Department at the rate of $17 an hour.
I'll second that. I have a motion by Clerk Curley, second by the chair. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Curley,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item O, Lightel Partner Support Renewal. Mr. Graham.
Good evening, board. This evening, this is a request through the supervisor's office and operations to request renewal for our Mitel support contract through High Tech, our vendor services for for our IT support. This is an annual renewal that we have operational in order to run the licensing and the phone systems that are required throughout the township. These phones are voice over IP phones that also require licensing through Microsoft operations. The total cost is $1,399. With that, I'll bring it back to the board for any questions, comments, or entertain a motion.
If there's no discussion, a motion would be in order.
I make a motion to approve and renew the Mitel Partner Support Contract for the 2025 Township Telephone Support at the cost of $1,399.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Clerk Curley, supported by Trustee Rosio. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll.
Curley,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Moreno,
Aye.
Reader.
Aye. All right, moving on to item P, Township Buildings Telecommunication Upgrades. Mr. Grabo.
All right, good evening, board. This, I would like to remind the board this evening that there was an emergency email that was sent out to you guys just prior to everyone leaving for MTA. We were notified by High Tech that if we did not make a decision relatively quick on some communication equipment that we needed during this continual upgrade that we are working on that is extremely close. And I will tell you, probably next week, we will turn on Town Hall and the rest of the buildings throughout the township to a brand new Comcast fiber operation. The items that we requested through an email poll and that was approved through that email poll were requested this evening for convocation from the board members. And that was to purchase the equipment of the security firewalls, appliances, the 8-port systems, the governmental contracts for those systems. And then we had a number of switches, extended service programs that we had to put into play in order to purchase these items. If we did it within a time frame prior to the end of the month of March, we were going to save approximately $2,000 to $3,000. That was the email that was sent out to you guys. The email results on the poll came back. We did in fact have 4 approvals, and we moved ahead, and that equipment is getting prepared and being put in the next week as we get ready to turn the systems to fiber. Once those systems are turned, all the phone systems throughout the township will be rerouted to a tree operation. That will no longer require us to have multitude of numbers throughout the township. Those numbers will be ghosted into the Comcast system, and eventually within a few months we will start to eradicate those phone numbers from a cost factor. We've looked at this and projected the overall cost of this operation is going to be a $15,000 savings once we get rid of all the AT&T numbers and the AT&T fiber systems we're operating right now, which we have a continual problem here in Town Hall, being able to stay on target and operate. So with that, I'll bring it back to the board. This was a convocation request to the email poll. If there's any questions or comments, I'll be open for that discussion.
If there's no discussion, a motion will be in order. I'll make a motion to approve the emergency email poll request of Sophos XGS 811 network security firewall appliance at the cost of totaling $12,308.75 as recommended by High Tech.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion by the chair, supported by Trustee Rosio. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Reader,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Curley,
Aye.
Moreno,
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
All right, moving down to item Q, Planning Commission Recording Secretary Compensation Proposal. So before you today, in an effort for us to remain competitive and retain our current staff, I am requesting that the board raise the rate of pay for our recording secretary for the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals to a base rate of $120, and then an hourly rate of $15 an hour if the meeting extends beyond the initial 2 hours. So the base pay of $120, and then an hourly rate after 2 hours for $15 an hour. And the hourly rate will be just for the meetings. And I will remind the board that our current secretary, not only is she there performing the duties at the meeting, but she goes home and takes the minutes and works on them too.
Are the meetings typically over 2 hours?
Meetings typically range sometimes an hour to hour and a half. They don't reach that 2 hour limit, but that is to have that just in case. And this is also so that when we figure out the hourly rate for the Earned Sick Time Act, in case she does use any sick time that she accrues, we have to have an hourly rate that is at least state minimum wage.
Okay. I motion to approve the increase of pay for the recording secretary to the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals to a base rate of $120, as well as an hourly rate of $15 if the meeting extends beyond 2 hours, as suggested by the supervisor's office.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Sutherland, supported by Trustee Marino. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll?
Sutherland?
Aye.
Marino?
Aye.
Gurley?
Aye.
Rossio?
Aye.
Reader?
Aye. All right, moving down, item R, 2025 Macomb County Dust Control Proposal. Mr. Grabo?
Good evening, Board. This evening, we're in front of you with the request from the Macomb County Department of Roads for the dust control program. As usual, Macomb County will supply the first 2 applications free of charge of the township, and additional applications costing $47,328 per application. As we've seen in the past years, these roads can go from either wet or dry overnight. Supervisor's office is recommending that we have a total of 4 applications this year. 1 for June, 1 for July, 1 for August, and 1 for September, with the total cost of the township being $94,656. With that, I'll bring it back to the board for any questions, comments, or open up to the board for a motion.
Do we know exactly what the chemical that they're putting down?
Mr. Marino, it's typically the brine solution that they've been using over the last several years. Now, we've watched these numbers double over the last, I want to say, 3 years that I'm aware of, just myself. The brine solution tends to not be always, but they do have a requirement that they have to have a percentage level that they can put in there without over salting the roads. If that
It has to be approved by EGLE.
They have to be approved by who?
EGLE, the Environment, Great Lakes and Energy Agency
Okay.
of the state.
Did anybody happen at the NTA happen to stop by this booth that does the dust control? Basically, one of the concerns that I have is that their dust control solution requires 2,000 gallons per mile, whereas Macomb County's requires 3,000 gallons per mile. Now, there's a difference between an oil field brine and apparently a well brine, which is what this is. I'm not real certain if this is any better. I do know that what they've been putting down has not worked very well. Okay, it seems like hours later, we've got dust again. I would like to say, can we at least talk to these people a little bit?
I did try contacting them 2 years prior. Unfortunately, they do not service our area.
Because I had talked to them and they said, yeah, they would.
I have an email from them 2 years ago that said they would not. Because the county controls our roads.
Because the county what?
Controls our roads.
Okay. Well, it seems to me that the cost is higher from the county than it would be from them, because they're using 1,000 less gallons on a solution that possibly could be higher in percentage. I did not call them to ask that very question. I did tell them where we were, and they said that they would service this area. Is it worth a phone call? Can we table this for?
No, we get the free applications regardless. The county wants this in by the end of April.
And by
Okay.
April.
By the end of April. April
So-
30th.
Could we table it and then maybe just call a special meeting if we talk to them?
We could.
I'm willing to table it till we see if we can reach out to them this week.
Yeah, because it's, you know, a savings of almost $400 per mile of road.
We would have to have a special meeting if they are willing to, one way or another, to either approve this or approve them.
Yeah, now I understand that we're still getting two from
The
the
county.
county.
Mhm.
So the others that we put down possibly could be just of our choice, and it doesn't have to necessarily go through them. I have noticed too that what they have put down has killed my lawn in areas. Along 28 Mile Road, they've put down whatever it is, if it's just a salt solution, it has flooded past the ditch onto the grass and has killed the grass. And that's just in my area.
On the contract with the county that says that we're in a solution. On page 2.
Well, this is also a prime solution. I mean, they're both calcium chloride, or calcium solution. It's a matter of which one is 99% water and which one isn't, basically.
It's tabled or we can title it in the next budget meeting that we're going to decide.
No, that would have to be a separate, yeah. Because the budget, that's a workshop. We would have to have a special meeting that we would have to have. We have to state the reason we're calling a special meeting. And this would be it.
This has to be in by when?
And
April
April.
30th.
I mean, I hate throwing good money after bad, because what they're doing just isn't working.
So are we gonna table it?
Someone's got to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to table the 2025 Macomb County Dust Control Proposal with the exception of making a decision before April 31st with having a special meeting with contacting, I'm sorry, I didn't catch who you said.
It's Michigan chloride sales.
Okay, contacting Michigan Chloride Sales.
I have a motion by Clerk Rose, supported by Trustee Rosio. May the Deputy Clerk please call the roll.
Hurley,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Reader.
Aye. All right, moving down to item S, Macomb County Limestone Application Proposal. Mr. Grabo.
Thank you. Mr. Marino, just for my clarification, you did say Michigan chloride sales?
Michigan chloride sales, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll see you after the meeting then. All right, good evening. This is set out the information for the limestone this year. This typically is a 3-mile process. this evening. This is coming in front of the board for recommendations. We do have a time frame to move forward with this as usual. This evening, the application requests have been put forth. I believe there's been some amendments to this sheet at this point in time. And I'll refer those back to the supervisor directly. I thought there was some amendments to this report. No? Are we still at the same target?
Yes.
Or did I get a different one?
Sir Med.
Yes, excuse me for interjecting. There were 6 segments. The maintenance assessment with DPW and fire safety. There was one additional segment. These were based from feedback by the board members, residents, and actually the Department of Roads. There was one segment that came in late. I believe the clerk received some information on that, and that would be Bates Road
From New Haven
from
Road.
New Haven, going approximately a mile north. So the 6 segments that you have are ranked from worst to least. This additional segment would be maybe ranked number 2 or 3 for your consideration.
Just as a reminder, even though this is put together, engineering and the board makes recommendations, when this is packaged up and put back to the county does their final review and makes a recommendation based on yours. But they do have the final say-so. With that, I'll bring it back to the board for any other questions or comments.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 Macomb County Department of Roads limestone proposal applying limestone to the following 3 miles. You want me to go through this whole list, all 6?
Yeah, that's more than 3 miles.
Yeah.
We have to choose which 3. Yeah.
You want me to
Yeah.
say some?
Personally, we only get 3 miles. I would personally recommend Roselle Road, 26 mile north to 1/2 mile. I would recommend Bates Road, 26 mile to New Haven Road, 1.5 miles, just because that's never been done with limestone. I'd like to see that done with limestone. And also Bates Road, 1 mile north from New Haven Road.
And that adds up to 3.
Yep, that's 3.
1, 2, yeah, 3.
Why don't we get more?
Trust me, we'll all go more.
All you pay the roll.
I mean, Roselle Road, 26 mile to north. I agree with that. I agree with New Haven and Bates north. And I think that was 1 mile.
Correct.
Yeah. And the only other real option is Bates Road from 26 to New Haven without going over 3 miles.
I mean, they're all terrible. All of these.
So I'll turn my recommendations into a motion to approve the 2025 Macomb County Department of Roads limestone proposal, applying limestone to the following 3 miles. Roselle Road, 26 mile to north 1/2 mile, then to Bates Road, 26 mile to New Haven Road, 1.5 miles, then Bates Road from New Haven Road, 1 mile north.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by the chair, supported by Clerk Gurley. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Reader,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Rossio,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Yay.
Nay.
All right, motion passes 3-2. Moving on to item T, 2025 right-of-way Phragmites cost share agreement proposal. Mr. Grabo?
Good evening, board. This evening, there's a request in front of you to work with the Phragmites cost that we've had in the past several years that we've worked with. This evening, we're requesting an approval to move forward. The treatment programs are starting to work. We have been told that it'll take 3 to 5 years to see a significant impact. In the past, we have seen these items start to move. June of 24, we actually had seen a cost of not to exceed 10,000. August of 24, we did come back with the final rates, was not to exceed 12,000. This year, as we're moving forward, there's a request for us to participate, and we are requesting that the board approve a cost not to exceed 14,000 after the survey and the initial has been completed and returned to the office for review. With that, I'll bring it back to the board for any questions or comments.
Did they finish the job from last year?
Yes, they have to keep doing it for a process of,
But I feel like they only did like a few sections. They didn't do all of Lenox.
they did.
Oh, yes.
Just Phragmites are an invasive species that tend to regrow real quick. And I'll also say they cannot go into the Village of New Haven because the Village of New Haven has to do their own contract.
Okay. Right, that's what I thought. I think they did a good job, other than I thought that they skipped a few corners.
And that's why the reapplication that's why they're given that projected length of 3 to 5 years. It's that continued spraying to kill these invasive species.
The county is paying half of the cost of it. Half, a little bit of the cost.
Yeah. If there's no further discussion, the motion will be in order.
I make a motion to allow the Macomb County Department of Roads maximum $14,000 for the township toward treatment in the township.
I'll support that motion. I have a motion by Trustee Rosio, supported by the Chairman. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Rossio,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Hurley.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item U, meeting room and lobby window covering proposal. Madam Clerk.
All right. As anybody knows, if you come in here when it's really sunny, you're basically blinded. Same thing with our front lobby. We have been trying to work for years to get some kind of blinds. I was on a mission to find some companies that would give me a quote. I set out, got 2 people that actually came. One declined to come because of the amount of windows. The first company that came out gave us a bid for just the meeting room, the lower windows, and the front lobby, all the way to the ceiling, of $36,010.20. The second company came out and gave us a bid for the community room, same windows in the lobby, including the whole office area, with a bid of $17,250. with an optional covers over the rollers for $3,400 so that you don't see the rollers, looks more professional. The third company chose to decline. I am at this point requesting that we go with the lowest bidder, which is Blinds for Less out of Macomb, with the total to not exceed $20,650 for the entire building. We are waiting on quotes for the angled windows because those let a lot of sunlight in too, but if you've ever come in on a sunny day, you can't even see in the front lobby. It's not a good thing. So that's my recommendation.
It's a huge difference. Did they bring a sample with them?
Yes.
What it would be like?
Yep, it's the exact same thing. The only difference is this guy, it's his company. The other one was done through a Home Interior, so she gets her cut and then has to pay somebody to install, and he basically gets the same thing direct from the manufacturer and installs them.
And that's Blinds for Less, is doing all the work.
Yep, and that is, certain ones in the office will have blackouts, so you can't see in them at all. But they're light filtering where they will filter out 5% of the sun.
Horizontal blinds or vertical blinds? Horizontal?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're all roller beats. They're not automatic.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely needed.
Yeah. And it will also help with costs, I think, with the heating and the cooling, because it will keep out
Sure.
and keep in.
If there's no further discussion, a motion will be in order.
Make a motion to award the contract to Blinds for Us for less in the amount of $20,650 for the window coverings township building.
I'll second.
I have a motion by trustee Rosile, second by trustee Marino. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Rocio,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Hurley.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item V, resolution of intent, Mr. Gravo.
Good evening this evening, board. We are requesting a resolution of intent to become a charter township. This is going to be a request resolution 2025-2. I believe that we do in fact have to go through this resolution. I'll try to make this as quickly as I can. No? Okay. We do not have to go through the reading of the resolution. With that, I'll bring that in front of the board for consideration, as we have spoke about this in the past, and this is part of the step process to move towards Lenox Township becoming a charter township in the Macomb County. Then I'll bring it back to the board for any questions or comments.
If there's no discussion, I will make a motion to approve resolution 2025-2.
I'll second.
I have a motion by the chair, seconded by trustee Rosile. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Reader,
Aye.
Rocio,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Hurley,
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item W, budget workshop schedule. I'm looking to schedule the next budget workshop on the 23rd of April at 3 p.m. That is a Wednesday.
Okay.
Joe, is that good with you too? Is that good with you too?
Yeah. I was just putting it in my calendar.
All right, I'll make that a motion then.
You said 3?
3 o'clock.
Okay.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second, sorry.
I have a motion by the chair, seconded by Clerk Gurley. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Reader,
Aye.
Gurley,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Rossio.
All right, moving down to item X, Building Department Adjustment Amendment. Mr. Grabo.
Oh, I thought
I'm going to
it was-
refer that to Clerk
Me?
Curley.
Okay.
She
I thought
has
so.
the statement prepared on that.
Okay. Basically, we had a special meeting, the building department manager stepped down. We were under the impression that when she stepped up, she took a $2 pay increase, and it was actually only $1.48. So we need to make an amendment to take her wages only $1.48 instead of the $2. She didn't receive a $2 raise for that promotion, she only received $1.48. So I need to make an amendment that we change her pay to the loss of $1.48, which, do you have the math on what that would be
For,
for her pay? So
it would
I think it
be,
was $20.52.
it would take it back to $23.70, I believe. Keep in mind, since that time frame, there's been a cost of living adjustment and
Right.
a dollar raise. I
Right.
believe that the rate structure drops back to 21.70, if I'm correct. I don't have those numbers in my hands.
I think that sounds right. Do you have it, Anthony?
Because it was $23.70 was the total. You had made an amendment for the $2, which dropped it to $21.70.
Right, but she's only losing $1.48, not the
Correct. So it would
$2.
be 22. Hang on one second. I apologize. I was not prepared for those numbers.
$1.06? That doesn't seem right.
No, that don't seem right. You gotta go from 23.70
Oh, 21.7.
minus the
I
$1.48.
was adding the wrong number.
Actually, the number of results is 22.22.
22, okay.
That's the number I got to.
Okay.
Yes.
So I make amendment to the special meeting minutes to change the building department pay scale back to 22.22, which is taking away the $1.48 raise that she got before she stepped into that position.
I'll support that motion. I have a motion by Clerk Gurley, supported by the chair. May the deputy clerk please call the roll.
Gurley,
Aye.
Reader,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Marino,
Aye.
Rossio.
All right, moving on to item 11, public comment.
Yes, this is Christopher Johnson. I'm at 57575 Roselle Road. I rent from FDM Contracting. In regards to the containers, is it 5 per company, or how do I want to say this? What if we're moving containers, say, every other 2 weeks or a month? I have questions about the containers.
This isn't a Q&A session. This is for you to address your public.
Oh, okay. So, on the containers, how do we have to do this? Can I ask a question? No questions? All right, this container stuff is just total, it's my whole business, dealing with containers every single day. I go from maybe 1 to 10 to 20 every day. So you're telling me not to have my business in New Haven or Lenox? Yes, excuse me. I have stuff shipped in, really from any other state, overseas. Sometimes it's 1 container, sometimes it's 20 containers. They could stay there a week, they could stay there a couple months. They revolve though, eventually. They're all newer containers, they look very nice. There's not writing on the sides of them. So that's all I just want to say.
Hey, Dennis A., 3940 County Line. We had talked on this containers before, and we just mentioned 20-footers and 40-footers. Hadn't heard anything else, but 53-footers are all over the place now, and would they be restricted or not, or would they be added to the list, and one has to take a look at how they'll fit in. And again, as I mentioned before, and I think you've heard here tonight, there are a lot of folks with containers coming and going. 4 and 5 containers for a lot of the industries is not livable for them. Sometimes they might have 10, sometimes they might have 20. I don't know, whatever they've got going for storage and moving different things, and when shipments come in, that's a chokehold on them.
Hi, Fred Barham again. Thank you for your comment. That's so true. We're in business to do business. We didn't come to the township here not to be able to do business. I don't know if any of you on the board have businesses or not, but really you're putting a stranglehold on us. I mean, I feel that this motion got passed without, none of us got notified. There was no mailings. I just heard it. And I was on vacation, otherwise I would have been here in the last meeting. I do believe you're making a big mistake because, you know, we're all in business to make money. I mean, this poor guy ships his products. You know, there's breakers, there's compactors in there for the construction industry. So now you're telling him he can't keep his containers, he can't bring his materials, ship them back and forth. How's he going to stay in business? Just not right. I just feel like that you guys really need to think about this a little bit further because, you know, we're on Roselle Road, a gravel road. We built our building there 2016. We get nothing for our taxes. We have no fire protection, no roads. We got no sewer, no ditches. We keep paying our taxes, but when are you guys going to come to the table on our side? We've gotten nothing from this township, zero. Zero. And then you come up with all of these ordinances. It's not right. I mean, I welcome all you guys to come down and do business and drive that road once in a while and see what it's like. And here, I'm hearing about putting some limestone on the road, and you got a trustee here denies limestone on the road. How can this be possible? What are we, in a third world country here? This is totally ridiculous. Totally. I mean, what if I don't pay my taxes anymore? How is the township, what are they going to say about that? I'm really upset because I feel like you guys are doing a lot of things that, you know, it's hurting the businesses, the little business guy. And I appreciate if you guys can go back and undo some of the things that you've done. Thank you.
And just one other thing, why don't you come out and look at the business and look at everything and see what we do and ask some questions before you go ahead and just approve this? And if there's anything I'd do before approving this, it's fixing the road, period. Thank you.
Linda Rossio, 25589 26 Mile Road. I was hoping tonight that someone maybe from Call from the Board might answer some of these questions for these citizens that took the time out of their schedules to be here. I have a couple things as well. What about the increase to taxes? At the Planning Commission meeting, it was brought up as me as a citizen, and that I wasn't able to sit and do my job. Did anybody contact the assessing department to see if there will be a tax increase on the property taxes? I'm hoping not. Also, will the companies here have to hire an engineer to adjust their site plans? As this gentleman was speaking, that basically on a daily to weekly basis, he would have to adjust from 1 to 10 to 20 containers. So does that mean he has to hire an engineer in order to accomplish his business's goals? And there was something else. Well, I guess that's all for now. But I do hope that someone can answer these people from your Call from the Board section of your agenda.
All right, moving on to item 12, Call from the Board. I'm going to make a few statements here. Mr. Mira, you know what you said about the fire department, that's just wrong. You very much do have fire protection. One of them's in the back there, he served this department for 2 decades. To say you don't, 3, sorry.
Can I make a comment to that?
No, this is our time to respond. You very much do have fire protection, you even have mutual aid through the New Haven Fire Department. You know as much as well as I do, this township has been pressing the Village of New Haven to help pave Roselle Road. We are very much willing to put in our fair share. The Village of New Haven is not. It requires the Village of New Haven to put in their fair share. And to go on about your business, sir, regarding your shipping containers, you can hold, like Mr. Caston said, you are grandfathered in when this comes in. And if you don't feel like you're grandfathered in, you can go to the Zoning Board of Appeals and request that variance. There is that route for you to have that. Is there anyone else call for the board? Hearing none from the board, we'll move on to adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn Lenox Township meeting at 7:52.
I'll support that. I have a motion by Trustee Rosio, supported by the chair. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.